So the Rams are going up against the Panthers. This is the first preview show for the first playoff game in a repeat of Week 13, a game that the Panthers won 31-28. I watched that game. I previewed that game. So if you want to go back and watch it, I'll link it in the description just there. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at some of the stats for these two teams, some of their head-to-heads in previous playoffs, which they've only met twice, and the injury news, finished with my predictions. So stick around. But before we get into all that, do me a really big favor. Hit the subscribe button there, especially if you're a returning viewer. It means you are watching my stuff, but you haven't hit subscribe. Why haven't you hit subscribe? Hit subscribe. It really helps me out. Now let's get on with the video. So Week 13, like I said, I predicted that the Panthers would lose, like many other people who watch American football. Many of the professional pundits who watch American football went for the Rams. Some didn't, to be fair, but many did. And we were wrong. The Panthers got a win. It was a tight game. Maybe the Rams could have won it on another day, but they didn't. So let's go through some of the stats first. So if we look at the Rams, their first down completions, they've got 396 to the Panthers 306. So I'm going to go for stat. I'm going to compare the two teams. You'll see that there's quite a big difference between the two in most of these stats that I'm looking at today. These are the ones I think are going to be the most significant. Third down completions, we got the Rams have completed 76 out of 192. That's a 39.6 completion rate. When you compare that to the Carolina Panthers, 74 out of 205 attempts, that's a 36.1 completion rate on third down. So as we know, the third downs are often the clutch moments in matches. It can be gutting for a team if your opposition converts multiple third downs. So the fact the Rams do that quite a lot, a bit more than the Panthers anyway, might be significant in this game. When it comes to fourth downs, though, they're pretty close. We got 66.7 completion rate for the Rams and 67.5 for the Panthers. However, the Panthers have attempted more by 10. So they've attempted 40, they've completed 27, whereas the Rams have attempted 30 and completed 20 of them. So the percentages are pretty close, but the Panthers have tried way more. A bit of the defense. I don't often go to how many tackles players made, how many sacks players made. What I tend to like to cover is how many stoppages their teams get in the red zone. I think it's a really important stat. That and how many 3 and outs a team gets against another team. But I like to focus on the red zone stoppages. The Rams have allowed 38 touchdowns in the red zone, whereas the Panthers have allowed 42. Here's a really interesting fact that happened in the last game. All 4 of the Panthers touchdowns were in the red zone, whereas all 4 of the Rams touchdowns were outside of the red zone. So I look at all this, I start tipping the favour towards the Rams. I do think they're a better football team. I would like to see the Panthers do well. I think I said that in the previous video, but I can't, looking at this, I can't really look past the Rams. And if we go player by player, I think, it kind of cements it for me. We've got Stafford, who was MVP caliber, him or Drake May this year. He's scored 4,707 total passing yards, 16 rushing. Compare that to Bryce Young, who scored 2,745. He has rushed more for 217, but that doesn't make up for it. It's just so much more powerful when you can throw for that many yards more than your opposition quarterback. It tips the favour towards you. Williams has rushed a total of 1,252, and we know that Nakoa has had a great season. The total receiving yards of 1,639. He's had a really solid season. On the other side of the ball, Doob's got 1,066 total rushing yards, and McMillan is the leading receiver with 1,014. Again, almost every single metric in this game points towards the Rams. But this is playoff football, and the Panthers have already beaten the Rams this season. And if you go back to the last 2 meetings, which were in 1996 and 2004, so a long time ago, mean nothing, different personnel. The Panthers won both those games. Does that mean they're going to win today? Who knows? But it might. We'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to some injury news now. Davante Adams is expected to be back. That is big news for the Rams, especially because they've got Nakua there as well. 2 really dangerous receiving threats for the Rams. Could prove to be the difference in this game. Lake expected to be back as well. And Kevin Dalston is the only real question mark for the Rams. I think Davante Adams is the big story there if he's back in. On the other side of the ball, the O-lineman Zavak is looking like he's going to be out with a calf injury. It's not been confirmed yet, but it looks quite likely. Mays, Hunt and Wallace are also all questionable, but not huge news on the injury front there. At the end of the season, the Rams ended at 12-5. They didn't finish as well as I thought they would, actually. I thought they'd end up being top seed of the NFC. They weren't in the end. I think they were 5th. And the Panthers finished 8-9. So everything points towards the Rams. So I'm going to go for a Rams win. I think it's going to be quite high scoring again. But I'm going to go 27-21 in favour of the Rams. But what do I know? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe and help me promote this great sport in the UK. Big thank you to you American fans who have been supporting me.